distinguished guests, and my dear friends. Good afternoon and welcome to the final day of Conventus 2024, the annual management conclave of IMI New Delhi. India's ambition of becoming a $7 trillion economy by 2030 represents a bold vision driven by innovation, digital transformation, and sustainable growth. This journey requires strategic investment in infrastructure, harnessing technology, and empowering the workforce. At Conventus 2024, we aim to delve into the role of leadership in navigating these transitions and ensuring India remains on track to achieve this milestone. Join us in exploring the drivers of economic transformation and how we can collectively shape India's future. Today, I, Mohit Sharan, and my fellow compare Samiksha will take you through today's session of Analytics Summit of Conventus 2024. The theme for this year's Conventus revolves around India's $7 trillion ambition. How will India lead the next global economic wave?
In a turbulent global economy, India's journey to become a $7 trillion GDP by 2030 hinges on adaptability and rapid technological adoption. Embracing digital transformation, capitalizing on new opportunities, and maintaining agility will be crucial in this ambitious pursuit, ensuring India thrives amid shifting global dynamics and economic uncertainties.
To achieve this ambitious target, India is set to leverage its digital skillfulness, fostering an environment of innovation and inclusive growth. The rapid adoption of digital platforms across sectors ranging from finance to agriculture has become the critical driver of the economy. This digital revolution, combined with favorable demographics, rising customer demands, and a thriving startup ecosystem, positions India as a key player in the next global economic wave. Before we proceed any further, we would like to present the Conventus 2024 theme video.
A nation like no other, with people of unlimited potential, is on the brink of unprecedented glory. The story of India is one of ups and downs, of navigating challenges and managing conflicts, of finding harmony amidst chaos. Now, the stage is set. India has dared to dream, a dream of becoming a $7 trillion economy.
The unstoppable force behind this long journey has been the people of the country. The next chapter in India's history will be marked by
GDP, growth driven by people. The people are the engines of our economy. The key to success for businesses is to convert their potential into purpose. When human resources are empowered and engaged, real value is unlocked and dreams are turned into reality.
It's time to explore the best practices of the businesses that have made a mark by being of the people, for the people, by the people. So, let us be all ears for their stories and ideas and learn from their rich experiences.
We are privileged to have 5 distinguished industry experts with us today. Let's extend a warm welcome as they share their valuable insights, inspiring and enriching our understandings. We have Mr. Ashish Sharan moderating the panel today. Mr. Sharan is an advanced technology system integrator and global entrepreneur. He has been working in tech consulting industry for the past 27 years. He began his journey as an entrepreneur in 2014 after working in various leadership roles at large corporate houses like TCS and Accenture. He is highly regarded digital transformation expert who likes nothing better than solving complex technological problems. I would request our secretary, Ms. Karan Maria, to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Ashish Sharan.
We are honored to host Mr. Kanishk Agarwal, CTO, Judge Group India, and member leader of Forbes Technology Council. He is a senior business leader with 20 plus years of experience who excels in creating innovative product through user-centric collaborative approaches. As a leader of Forbes Technology Council's Digital Sustainability Group, he drives industry thought leadership and holds top honors including Times Business Award and Business Leader of the Year, shaping the future of technology and business solutions. Let's have Mr. Ashish Sharan extend a heartfelt welcome to Mr. Kanishk Agarwal.
It is a privilege to welcome Mr. Mukul Juneja in our panel today. Mr. Juneja is the director and CTO at Muro, an AI-driven consulting firm optimizing global hiring with headquarters in India and the USA. With extensive experience scaling startups to become a multi-million dollar ventures, Mr. Mukul Juneja has created 300 plus engineering jobs, mentored 200 plus students under Delhi government and adult tinkering initiatives. He regularly speaks at top management institutes. May I request Mr. Sharan to extend a cordial welcome to Mr. Mukul Juneja.
Mr. Thomas Fenn is an economics graduate from St. Stephen's College, who combines his analytical background with expertise in operation and tech-driven strategies in the F&B industry. As a joint secretary at the NRAI, National Restaurants Association of India, he advocates for tech-forward policies in e-commerce, online ordering and logistics, positioning himself as a key tech specialist in the restaurant sector. I would like to invite Mr. Ashish Sharan to give a gracious welcome to Mr. Thomas Fenn.
Next up, we have Mr. Upkar Singh, the Global IT Head of Gujarat Fluorochemicals, an IT leader, digital strategist, and TEDx speaker. He carries 27 years of qualitative techno-managerial experience in areas of strategy planning, solutioning, business intelligence, and digital transformation. I invite Mr. Sharan to extend a sincere and warm welcome to Mr. Upkar Singh.
Digital infrastructure is the foundation stone for economic growth. By empowering people with access to technology, we are enabling India's journey towards becoming a global economic leader. These words by Mr. Nandan Nilekani, the co-founder and non-executive chairman of Infosys, sets the backdrop of our summit. Digital infrastructure is more than just a technological necessity. It is a vital driver of economic growth and key enabler of India's journey towards becoming a global leader. With this, we present to you our theme for Analytics Summit 2024, Empowering India's Economic Future Through Digital Transformation. Presenting to you the theme video for Analytics Summit 2024.
In the next 3 years, India aims to become the world's third largest economy with a GDP of $5 trillion. By 2030, India plans to add another $2 trillion to its GDP.
As per the Finance Ministry Economic Review report, it is said that India can aspire to become $7 trillion economy by 2030. It is
India aims to reach $7 trillion GDP by 2030, which would rank it among the largest economies globally. This ambitious target highlights the importance of technology and innovation in enhancing efficiency and fostering growth across various industries. The initiative not only focuses on economic expansion, but also emphasizes on job creation, increased financial inclusion, and sustainability, ensuring balanced development and progress throughout the nation.
Data-driven strategies are essential for enhancing customer experience and operational efficiency. By analyzing customer data, businesses can offer personalized experiences that boost satisfaction and loyalty. Leveraging data analytics for proactive customer support helps identify and rectify potential issues before they escalate, leading to improved services. Furthermore, insights gained from data allow companies to identify process inefficiencies, streamline workflows, reduce operational costs, and enhance the reliability of customer service, ultimately driving an overall business success.
Despite the benefits of data-driven strategies, several key challenges hinders the progress. Inconsistent data quality and integrity can lead to unreliable insights, undermining customer experience. A skill shortage within the organization and resistance to change can impede the effective adoption of new technologies, making it difficult to leverage data effectively for enhancing operational efficiency.
Now I request our moderator, Mr. Ashish Sharan, to take the session forward. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hi. Hi. Thank you for the warm welcome to all of us. I really thank on behalf of the panel members. And it's always great to sort of connect with you guys, sharp, young minds, budding leaders. We were talking about it, how good and excited we are as well as panelists. So digital transformation, a lot of numbers we were looking at, right? 5 billion, 7 billion. So we are sitting at $3.8 billion today, right, as GDP. Just one question to all of you. Our population is about 1.5 billion people. What's the number that you look at, how many are broadband users in India? How many of them? Any guess, any number? I mean, you can Google and you can get it, but still. How many people use internet in India today?
Around 500 million.
Go up?
No, around
No, up.
900.
Close enough. 900 plus is the number of people who are using internet today. So look at the digital penetration, look at the infrastructure that has gone in this country, right? So we are all set to achieve 5 trillion economy by 27. There's no doubt with the government sort of, they started their digital program in 2015 with 15,000 crores of budget to be consumed by 2025. They put a lot of digital initiatives, a lot of digital platforms have come. These days you would have used Umang, DigiLocker, all these things, right? So there is a lot of impetus from government to really do digital transformation. And some of the digital native companies that you see, I mean, the unicorns like Zomato and Urban Clap, and the latest one is Ather, I think, Ather, Zepto, and all these guys. They're already using digital. They don't need transformation. They're already using digital technology, right? And you see the operational efficiency that they have, the customer experience at least, right? So and then there are, the old business houses like, running in the country for 70 years, 60 years. They're still, some of them, you'll be surprised to know, they're still running on very old technology. They need digital transformation. When they go into digital transformation, their top line and bottom line, everything just fixes itself, and that helps us to drive the economy. Export and then employment generation are the two main, focus areas for the ministry as well as us as countrymen to sort of increase in the country. So with that, I would like to sort of keep this session for about 50 to 60 minutes. And we had about 4 topics to discuss. One was, the first one is what's digital transformation strategy. Then the second is, I think that's on the tech, skill gap and how do we address skill gap in the digital transformation side of things. Then what's the innovation and the best practices, what we need to do, and how do we enhance operational efficiency. So I think these are the 4 topics that we wanted to discuss today. And what we will do is we'll sort of have a discussion for each of these topics for about 10 minutes or so, and at the end of the topic we'll have 5 minutes for Q&A. Is that okay? So 15 minutes for each topic. Yeah, shall we get started? Okay, good. All right, so as you will, we were being introduced, you would have seen one thing in common between the panel members. 3 of us actually come from tech solution providers background, as in we are the either system integrators or the tech guys. we provide digital technology solutions, right? And two of the gentlemen over here, Upkar and Thomas, they are the enablers in their business community. So Upkar comes from chemical industry and Thomas comes from hospitality industry. So whatever technology that we provide to them, they basically use it. But they make sure that their business use it, and then the KPIs are achieved, their business grows and all that, right? So we will look at all these four topics from two different perspectives. One from a technical solution provider's perspective, that's where we come into play, and the other one will be from the technical, the solution enabler's perspective. That's where Upkar and Thomas will come into play. Is that okay? So let's talk about digital transformation strategy, right? So I would like to start with Kanishk. What do you think is the right, or what's digital transformation strategy?
I think digital transformation strategy has to be a public-private partnership. We have seen initiatives like UPI. We have seen initiatives like Aadhaar, the digital identity of every individual, every citizen. The major problem that I see is that the digital infrastructure in India is not inclusive. It is not accessible, and it is very expensive for a small business to sustain the cloud services of big giants like AWS and others. So it's very important for government to work with these private players and create a service, number one, that allows the penetration of tech with the businessman that is operating at a ground level, which is at a, not a big business house that has millions of dollars of funding and others. Because I've seen it that, I've worked with the family businesses quite a lot, and they were very rigid in terms of transforming their business. They don't understand about data. So they have not created the data. They don't know anything about it. And they believe only in transactions on a day-to-day basis. So it's important for them to understand. And the new generation of these family business, they understand technology better. Initially, I've spoken to these guys, they believe technology is an expense. And now the new generation is understanding that, if I transform my business and I start looking into data, it will be very easy for me.
Yeah.
But the problem is that they don't know how to implement it. What are the services that are available, accessible for me? I don't want to become a data expert. I don't want to become a solution expert. Or I don't want to hire a third party that design and build a solution for me.
Yeah.
So they rely and they look at the government, that they will design, build a service for me that is accessible across all business, all verticals, and it's easy and it's affordable. So I think that is a digital transformation strategy, because as the data inflows, right? Because we see that data is the new oil.
Yeah.
So I think that intelligence has to be there, for these businesses, and we have to link them to the mainstream. That will really allow us to get more thriving, for our target for 7 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the abundance of storage and compute that
Yeah.
we are getting these days on cloud, and the powerful servers, and you have AWS, you have Azure, you have GCP, and so many other cloud vendors. I mean, data is as Kanishk said, right? It's just a new oil, and this has been there for this statement is there for last 10 years or so,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
It's basically understanding the various nuances that are coming out of the data, right? Some of the data could be dead, some of the data are really live, and really, they're like gold mine, that the businessmen have to literally look at the insights, and more than insights, those are actionable. But are the actions being done from those insights is the question, right? So yeah, thank you, Kanish. How about you, Mukul? What do you think?
I mean, yeah, so I do agree with Kanishk in the form of, inclusivity and all, but I do believe that it's more of a fear on a business owner's side. Like, apart from the companies who are solution provider or the one who understand technology, those who don't, they have their legacy data, a lot of data already on the premises, or however they are moving, can be in form of, Excels or books that they are keeping and all. they're not aware how exactly would it go, and when it go forward and they move, would they be able to continue their work in the same proportion as they are already doing. So along with inclusivity, it more of the awareness that needs to be provided as well. Secondly, there are still lot of companies or the players that you are talking about, like GCP, Azure and all, they do have their data centers here, but in terms of letting know that do they provided their complete services in a manner that everything is completely within the premises in India, or do they have their data going out and all. Like for example, in between, do you hear about China providing you all the hardwares and all, would there be any sort of leakages happening? And so on the government level, a lot of regulatories need to be provided in terms of there should be a regulation checklist, etc., that you're moving forward, that you would be able to do it. Second, like I'll talk about the Aadhaar and the PAN that you have provided. Even if you look for you have to keep going for KYCs again and again. Yeah. So if I talk about KYC being done, you already have a lot of information that is taken from an individual, and hence you keep on doing. It's a difficulty that they have to go for. I'll give you a very simple example right now. Like a month before, my Airtel SIM stopped working. I was not having any network. So I went to the store. I had a word like I need a replacement and all for that. They gave me the replacement, took my details again, did a KYC and all. And the answer they gave me was like, your SIM is pretty old. It has been 12, 13 years. So we have to go to our warehouse, took out those books and check your data in it. So all the new data which is already on the cloud, but yet they have the older one that's not there. So a lot of things in terms of how you combine or sync between all the legacy data and the new data that has coming into the picture. So all those things has to be taken care of. So yeah, we are moving there, rightly so, but we do need regulations in terms of how exactly the process forward should look like.
Perfect. Thank you, Mukul. And you know what? I mean, digital transformation strategy actually hits another sort of dimension to the business. Through digital transformation, most of the businesses are able to sort of start their new revenue stream, which they had never realized, right? I mean, so that's the crux. So when the C-suite actually sit together and they call us that, hey, we want to sort of draft a digital transformation strategy, the first question that we ask is, okay, what do you mean by digital transformation strategy? What do you want to do? Right? Oh, I need all my data on cloud. Okay, fine. So what? I mean, so a lot of these things have to be sort of asked at the right time to even define a little bit of strategy, which will at least start. That could just be a stepping stone, right, to define the overall business strategy. And then you'll be able to address typically 3 dimensions: customer experience, operational, and business, new business revenue streams. And what about from a tech enabler's perspective? I mean, you run a business, Thomas, which is hospitality, very, very close in terms of very close to customer experience. At the same time, you have to look at the operations as well. So how does this digital transformation benefit the hospitality industry, or what all strategical components that you need to take care when you say I'm digitizing my business?
So so the hospitality business, interestingly, across the board has always been an early adopter of technology in its sense. Like, there's always been hardware that has been used in the hospitality industry for tracking customers, and you'll notice this in the old hotels. They've had, this is before the internet came in, they've always been early adopters of hardware. Like, hotels and restaurants were using pagers before they were a thing. So data has always been something that has been front and center for running a hospitality business. It's just that it's not data in the way that we see it today. It was very human-centric in the sense that they would rely, you would find this to be true even if you go to your favorite restaurant. The fact that you are recognized at the door is a very compelling reason for you to revisit this restaurant, because there's recognizability coming in. Now, that today is now being explained in terms of facial recognition software, right? Before, this was a human being doing this, spending the hours, understanding what your needs are, that an Upkar likes his glass of water on his left side, medium warm. These are all things that were being captured on a very, very fundamental level, right? So now we've come to a point where we have tools, or we at least assume that we have tools that will kind of capture this and eliminate the need for errors in between. So I believe that the restaurant industry has always been data first. Like we are now digitizing, or we're trying to look at non-human based aspects to how can we kind of standardize this across the board and scale it. And we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. So like Kanishk pointed out, there is a distinction between old family-run businesses and new age. So most of the new restaurants opening today are very tech-forward in the sense of adopting and also trying to see how, because they're thinking scale. They're not just thinking about, their dreams are not small of, okay, I will operate this one restaurant for the rest of my life. That used to be the case with family, like restaurants. They used to be mom and shop businesses that would run for a very, very long period of time. Today, as it stands, there are two key challenges, and I speak only from an Indian context. One, there is not enough competition of service providers to restaurants today. That is also because there were early movers in the market, which kind of captured very, very specific and very crucial aspects of the restaurant value chain, which also boxed out new players from entering the market. So we face, by we I mean the restaurant industry faces problems that, so today like if you had to look at food delivery, there are only two players today. There is Swiggy and there is Zomato. Now if the possibility for a third player to come in, it is greatly constrained by the fact that there is not too much room for this third player to occupy. So one problem is competition. So as a restaurant owner, I'm also, both as a customer and the same thing also applies to me as a restaurant owner, I'm stuck with these two.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when you have a lack of competition is that they start mirroring each other. After a point, they're fundamentally the same product.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen this in computers, we've seen this in most information technology. So aspect number one is competition. Number two is interoperability, which is that if I have, like, something that's very important to me as a restaurant is my reputation online, right? So if I build my reputation, say, on a Zomato, if I leave the platform today, I basically don't. I have to start again. I don't exist anymore. I'm a 10-year-old business. I have, I've got a rating. I've got this many number of reviews. I've got people talking about me. So there's no interoperability from a platform perspective where I can take, say, my reputation, or I can take my expertise, whatever. Like, so from an online footprint perspective, there is zero interoperability. So they're all silos. They're fun. So even though we are in this beautiful world of like technology being connected to each other, we've got fantastic APIs, we've got everything today, but I'm still stuck in these sandboxes, and you have very few players kind of pulling the strings. So to also build on what Kanish said, this is where I feel that it's ripe for the government to come in, and it is encouraging that they are. There's the ONDC platform that is being built, which is supposed to address a majority of the issues that I just spoke about right now, where you don't have to depend on individual platforms to kind of generate business, generate consumers. So they're unbundling, or they're breaking up what we used to see as full stack platforms. They're now breaking it up into individual to increase competitiveness in each of these vectors.
Yeah.
To take let's take a food delivery example. Yeah. There are primarily three vectors to this. There is a customer facing cartable platform, which is where they place the order, which then connects to a payment gateway, which then connects to a logistical player. It kind of pings to a logistical rider, and it pings to a restaurant saying that you've got so and so order. So they're broadly four. Right now they're all bundled into one stack, which is done independently by either a Zomato or a Swiggy.
Right.
What ONDC hopes to achieve, and as a result of this, all the data of all these transactions also now residing only with two players right now. So restaurants don't get to know who their customers are. Riders don't get to know who they're ultimately serving. Payment gateways on some level will have transactional info, but you know what I mean, right? There's a lot of things that can be done.
Yeah.
Empowering things that, the data is available, tokenized and free to all the stakeholders involved. So what ONDC is trying to do is to kind of unbundle. So now you have a full stack competing against a full stack, right? So if you want to effectively compete with any of these two players, you have to be offering this cartable menu, this payment gateway, and effectively a logistical system, right? The only thing that is outside of this little circle is the restaurant who cooks the food or produces the food. So ONDC is trying to unbundle this by saying, why do we have a possibility where, to digitally transform this in a way that we are now having logistical players compete with logistical players, Payment gateways compete with payment gateways. Cartable menus compete with just the way restaurants are competing with. So there's a lot of action going on this front, which is government driven, and we're hopeful that it will solve like a lot of pain points of the industry right now.
And the payment gateways, I mean, I don't know, I mean, when you use Zomato or Swiggy, you see there are multiple payment options that you get, right? So is it something like the government has already mandated that, okay, payment gateways, so there is already a competition between payment gateways because there are a lot of coupons that you get?
Right.
If you're using UPI, then you get 50 rupees off, or if you're using ICICI net banking, then you get something else. Is that already coming in place?
No, just a slight distinction over there. So what you described is a payment method. Payment gateway is where it happens on. So for example, if you went on to any shopping website, you'll either see Razorpay, CC Avenue.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's the payment gateway,
Yeah,
right? So CC, they're creating like a unified portal where
Right.
you can either pay by a credit card or by UPI or by net banking or by debit card, etc. So all those offers that you see are not by the payment gateway necessarily. They are individually payment methods competing with each other. So an ICICI bank credit card would want you to use them over an Amex card.
Right.
Therefore, so they're not a payment gateway necessarily. It's still Razorpay that. So in Zomato's case, they have their own, or in Swiggy's case, they have their own integrated payment gateways. But for businesses who don't have that capability, there are off-rack solutions by Razorpay, by CC Avenue. Shopify is an excellent example of another, like payment gateway which takes care of it.
Anish has.
Yeah, I had a point like, I think I'm very excited about this. So there is, Indian government is really investing on the payment networks.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are replacing the MasterCard, Visa and Amex that had the supremacy, in the Indian market. And we are coming with our own payment networks that will really help move forward with that 7 trillion goal as well.
And UPI is a fantastic example of this,
Yes.
right? Like
Yeah.
what it took away, what it did in one fell sweep, is that it took away the need for people to actually, key in their banking details. Your unified identification number is your mobile number, which is linked to a bank account, and it's P2P. So where the government, I think, won and did it right, was that they mandated that if you as a bank want to operate in my country, you are going to have to service this. You have to be compliant with UPI, and you're going to have to service this for free. They can't be a merchant cost involved. So today, if you want to consume at my restaurant, it is the cheapest method for me to receive money because I don't have to pay a commission to the bank on any UPI transaction. And that's a game changer.
I mean, even if you see, like, Indian government is enabling us to, increase the inclusivity of the local brands. RuPay card, you get UPI, you can use the credit card on the UPI terms as well. Now you can do the payment through it and you can add things going forward. But if you do that with any other card, you have to pay a leverage fees over the same. So yes, a lot of things are coming into picture with that. But again, to add on to the question and to what Thomas has added as well, like all those discounts you see are the things that the companies are providing to Zomato or Swiggy to take forward. For example, SDFC do it with the Apple when the Apple products come in with the 5,000 discount, or recently the PayZapp card of SDFC where Diljit's tickets were booked for the initial options that were coming in. So those are the sort of enablement they are having in terms of sponsorship or partnership with those companies to take things forward.
Thank you. And what's your take on, you come from chemical industry, right? You're managing IT for a chemical giant. So what's your take on digital transformation strategy?
Absolutely. I think very nice discussion is going on this. And just to add to my perception on is that we all know what digital transformation is about, right? It is transforming any business, right? Using digital in some or the other way, efficiently or effectively. That's the underline. We all know now. Now, let's understand the same. Is there an example with us for the digital transformation? Can you name a company, the first #1 paint company in India? Everybody of you know that. I think nobody else has named any other company. Why? Because they are available to the service provider like us, the end users basically, in all their way, product-wise, service-wise, efficiently and effectively. The reason being, if you go see from a different point of view, Actually, Asian Paint is not a paint company. It's an IT company selling paints. The reason being, they have adopted the digital transformation in a way that it has become an household name. Right? And it has not become household name only because we know it's a good ads and all. They have provided the delivery of their paints in all possible ways, right? And all the product and services we all know. So as we know the data, and this has become possible for them only because they have churned out the data with them in a right way. Right? So that decision making has been done. So they were the early adopters of digital or the technologies to make this possible. I have an experience of around 27 years. So half of the experience is from IT, ITS kind of industries, and half of them is from the manufacturing industry. I have seen the both world. Now we are talking about the jargon, this digital transformation very much nowadays, right? And multiple technology options are also there. I remember the day I have joined the first company. It was an export house. So when Mr. Ashish talked about the digital strategy, digital transformation strategy, actually starts with the vision and mission of the board members, right? So that's why I just wanted to highlight that my first company boss was an employee of Tata, and he has seen that vision and mission and started his own company, and he was searching for a ERP software, his export house. He was not getting at that 97. He hired me for, I started my career as a software developer. So he hired me to write a software for him as per his requirement. At that time, in 97, his company turnover was only 4 crores. So I went to the ground in Khades in Panipat to understand what are the parameters need to be captured for, streamlining their productions, operations, then supply chain and all documentation, all different functions of their organization, right? And by the time we wrote that software completely and made it go live, right, in 2 years. It took 2 years to understand, write, and the software made go live. In 5 years later to that, the company has reached 400 crores. So that's the magic of any digital transformation. It starts with the vision and mission of the board member, and you have to make not only the technical people accountable for that, it has to be a business project. Ever since then, I have seen that I have make it a point that now in my current chemical company, when I joined an year and a half back, right? So they were about to start a digital transformation. They were a known name in the chemical sector, but they still were need to have a robust digital program. So while planning and designing the digital transformation, so we first named it, right, so that it becomes vocal across the organization, and we named it a project as E-Parivartan. So that has a that word is now floating everywhere in the organization. So that has been made possible with the help of HR, with the marketing people, with the senior management. Whenever they have town halls in their meetings, they talk about E-Parivartan. And to make it known, we streamlined couple of workshops across the business people to understand that what is the magic of this digital transformation. And not only having a technology is not a magic, let me tell you. Is it easy to learn? It is easy to deploy. The application of the technology is the actual magic. And who is going to use that technology? And whenever you go to any board for any technological discussion, they will always talk about in business language. They would like to see what this technology is going to add the value addition to a business in terms of ROI. So all business looks into that what, as Mr. Ashish was also mentioning, This digital transformation is helping organization to have a new business lines, new product line as well, right? All that is possible with technological operation, but you need to involve the business people in that. And this is a time when we have an ecosystem. We want to make our country a 7 trillion country, and for that matter, all organizations have to understand the magic of the data or the technologies possibly, and also on the other part, government is playing an equal role for that matter. They are providing all the infrastructures in terms of internet, in terms of payment gateway. I have been working with a fintech company for 9 years, so I know a lot about the payment. The UPI system, which the framework which has come up, is now have become a talk of the town abroad as well. And I don't know if you know or not, the Singapore government has also adopted the similar framework. They have asked Indian government to help them to structure the similar kind of framework in their country as well, right? So making the government and the organization, now all organizations are understanding the viability, the possibilities, the art of possibility with the digital transformation. But only strategies has to be is that the business has to be made accountable. Business people have to come in front. Technological people need to assist them. Wherever these digital transformation projects have become a business project, they are becoming successful, and Asian Paint is the best example for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mukul, you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm saying that he talked about Asian Paints being one of the leaders in the same space, doing that thing. So apparently I would like to talk about, two of the examples to learn from the mistakes of Kodak and Nokia. I mean, these were the leading people in their industry, and apparently they didn't take forward the development they could have.
BlackBerry is another one.
Yeah, I'll give you. So I was reading the case story of Kodak once again, just to see through a few. It's like with few of my MBA colleagues. So one of their engineer did come to them saying that I have the capabilities of developing a digital camera, and that was the very first time. But the board member denied with the fact that they have their reels and everything over which they were doing the most of their business. So it could have been real tricky that they have to lose on the thing that was making the books running. So Upkar sir did talk about, it starts from the board members and all, that they have to be very inclusive or open to the ideas from the team members in terms of adaptability. Later that person left the Kodak. Sony reached out to them, and he provided his all the IPs and everything there, and apparently they were able to close it with Sony, and Sony becoming the leading players in the camera space. So it's very important for the the founders or the board members to be open about the ideas that do come from any level of the hierarchy. It may not be the same people, so you need to be very inclusive in terms of all the people who are working with you, so that you hear to them. Be it the town hall or board meetings or any sort of meeting is happening, you should be open to the ideas around the same.
Oh, yeah. Very well said, and can't agree more than what Upkar or Mukul added on the digital transformation strategy. Rule number 1 is it's actually a business program, not a tech-driven program. Tech is only providing you solutions, right? So that actually helps us to transition to our next segment, which is more of tech adoption and the challenges. But before we move to that, any questions anybody has, anything that somebody wants to ask us, or anyone?
I mean, I'll add a point that I do speak in every MBA college I go to for a talk or panel discussion, that don't be afraid of what people would be thinking about you on your left, right.
Yeah, just
friends. Like, I mean, believe me, no one is going to remember what you had the discussion here after 2 days, just what you are taking forward from here. So the key takeaway from any discussion should be, you should not be afraid, koi galti choti badi kuch nahi hoti, and from mistakes the businesses come out. So just be open about, asking question if you have.
Good evening, esteemed panel members. I have a question that now we are living in the era where Gen AI is taking over. And what future role does Gen AI play in scaling digital transformation across industries?
Okay, good question. Who wants to take it? Ganesh?
So Gen AI is definitely definitely an interesting technology. So I'm an investor as well, and I get pitched new startups. Every day they come in and they have a Gen AI back, right? What differentiate the Gen AI will make is terms of from technology perspective is that if they have a unique algorithm of their own, right? The second is have their own data. If they do not have their own data, if they do not have their own algorithm, then there is no differentiation because they are enabling OpenAI, right? From a model perspective. Now, from an implementation standpoint, definitely it's going to be very transformative because it gives you that independence to design and build a model on top of your data, right? So what we are doing in Judge, right? We are doing autonomous cars, and there is a CES 25 that is happening in January in Las Vegas, right? The key theme there is that how we are enabling Gen AI for a user experience in an autonomous vehicle. Okay, so understanding about the user who's driving the car, what are their preferences in terms of seat alignment, in terms of lighting, how to increase what is the temperature preference as well of that driver, right? So enhancing that. So these are the capabilities, specifically in the healthcare sector and other sectors. This is really going to be transformative, but it is important for the businesses to do not adopt other models. They have to build their own models to be successful.
Do not copy somebody
Yeah,
else's
do
model.
not copy, yes.
Mukul, you want to?
Yeah. I mean, to add to him, I'll take it to the basic first. You need to understand, what exactly is Gen AI. I mean, a lot of people, they hear the jargons like AI, ML, etc., but they don't understand it. Gen AI is a part of AI where you create creative content based on, what exactly it has learned from. And to add to what Kanishk has mentioned, the reason of not using ChatGPT and all everywhere is like your security and privacy do come into the picture because that's an open model. Everything would go public in terms of it will be learning from it. So that being one. Second, you don't really need to create everything by yourself. There's two sort of businesses that come into picture. If you're like, I'll give you an example of two of them. One being is like recently a model that come into the picture where they were using the photos of mammographs and all, and based on that they were able to describe whether it's like there's a cancer even before medical treatment or anything could come up with the answers. So that being one, when such sort of data that come into picture, you don't want that data to go public, you want to conserve it. So in that case, you have to develop your own models. Second case can be, you are just providing some sort of data point that is generated from the prompts that you are given, and the data you need not to be secured that much. There you can use the wrappers or applications further. So recently we were working with BCG. There we developed a complete model out there. So what used to happen is a lot of people used to sit together, like any requirement is coming from any business, they used to go through all their documents, previous work, etc., come up with the answers, create a presentation, and go with the business people to provide it to the stakeholders of the company. Now what they have to do is they have to just give a prompt in a chatbot, and the chatbot will prepare all the data for them and they can utilize it in their presentation. So you can just see how many hours of work is getting saved for them. They can't really use the GPTs and all those open because they can't give their data to them. So you need to understand what exactly your requirement is, what exactly GPT or generative AI is, and then you have to go forward, because otherwise AI is a vast term, predictive analysis and a lot of other things do come into picture.
And AI is there since 1958. So we can talk about it. That's a separate topic. It'll take at least a couple of hours if we start talking about AI. So, but that's a good question. Anybody else wants to ask? Yes?
Sure.
Oh, sorry.
So I have a question that back then when you implemented solution in 97, what were the challenges that you faced? Because if we see the current scenario, I was working in TCS. We are facing different challenges when we are implementing a system change in the industry. Like I was working in PNG and we were implementing a e-learn change, which was a learning platform over there. So what are the challenges which you are facing right now in the industry when you're working with the the Gujarat company and the one which you worked back then?
Yeah, the only challenge is that that any project, whatever project we start, has to have a real credential check, right? What value addition it is going to give to the end user. just for the per se of having a technology or a software is not sufficient enough, right? And you need to bring the respective stakeholders into considerations, right? Whosoever it is. Suppose, as you mentioned about the e-learn, right? The e-learn, I think the respective stakeholders will be the HR function, first of all, right? Who would be pushing this e-learning module to all the employees. So all the other stakeholders also has to be bring into understanding whether this kind of platform is going to help them. What are their feedbacks? So while designing, before designing such kind of solutions, if their feedbacks are taken in a proper way, they have been brought into a picture that this is a kind of platform we are going to come up with, right, for all of you to learn in a way, or how it is going to add. Suppose any HR pushes a e-learn solution to all the employees to complete couple of modules in a week or so, right? Is it going to be in sync with their regular operations works or not? If someone is there in the plant and he has been told to complete 5 trainings in a week, right? So all those modalities have, if considered well enough in advance, before going go live, some pilots can be run in a way so that those, I think, scrutinies or those issues can be brought in before it made go live to all across, right?
Thank you. There's one person over here. You wanted to ask something? Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was asking how government can play its part to make smaller businesses less hesitant about newer technologies.
Let me just repeat the question. So smaller businesses?
How smaller businesses can be less hesitant about newer technologies.
Oh, okay. So how can government enable smaller houses, business houses, to adopt tech? Yeah, that's the question. Anybody wants to take that? Start with Ganesh.
Yeah, I think trust is the most important currency, right? I think from a government perspective, it's very important to design and build a governance model. So any business that is bringing something for the business, right? There should be a governance model from the government that vouch for it. So then it becomes easier for these businesses to trust the technology in a better way. So if it's not, the government is not behind any specific technology, then it was very difficult for a family business or other business to adopt and learn, because obviously they are hesitant about it. They don't trust it. And for some of them, it's there are trade secrets. Yes. They're very wary about their data, that, how I do, what my recipe is, right? So it's very important that there is a governance framework around it. If there is a good governance framework around it and it's getting backed by the government, then definitely businesses will invest and will adopt the technology as well.
Thomas,
I mean, you must have heard about, special economic zone SEZs being made by the government, where you get the leverage in terms of not going through GSTs and all those things. So that's a great add-on that the government do provide. And apart from that, the grants are also coming into the picture. With this hackathons, this hackathon on national level that Mr. Modi started when he came into the power. So that is one great thing, where if in case you are a winner, you do get a lot of opportunities or digital footprints, and then you do get a lot of loans for small business in terms of taking forward. Coming specifically to data, there are a lot of governments coming, like Goa government is already in discussion, Himachal government, in terms of setting up the data centers and all those things. So that all is there, that is getting boosted, that is coming into the picture. But more on, I feel data transformation or any digital transformation is an individual call that you want to go for. There are a lot of ways you can. I mean, even if you go on AWS or Google Cloud Azure, they give you a lot of credits if you are coming in with good ideas. You have $100,000 of credits that you can get as grants in terms of, keeping your infrastructure and taking it forward. So it's more of, do you want it, and do you really want to go forward with it? That's how you can. But on government level, they are coming up with the centers. They have special economic zones for helping you with the taxes and all those things. And that's how you have to take care and see through that where exactly you can leverage all those things.
And just to add to, I think, him, is that government is, I think, supporting MSME, the sectors which you are referring to, in number of ways. One of them, adopting technology. There are a couple of hyperscalers from cloud perspective. If you say, government has some program where these hyperscalers do provide couple of credits program to such MSME industries. And the best thing I has experienced that all this technology adoption needs money, and government had made that possible for MSME sector to push all organization to pay them in 60 days, right? Do you know that? All MSME which are there, if they have given that certification to any big enterprises, so enterprises have to make MSME payment in 60 days. So as their cash flows, continuous, so they are able to, invest that money into technologies. So that is one way of supporting, these sectors as well.
Thomas, you want to add something?
So there are many examples. Like they pointed out specific examples of how government makes it easier for. So I'll speak as a small business myself. Tiny business, we have 4 outlets in comparison to larger restaurant chains. 2 things usually with small works with it. Number one is access, right? It could be access to information about it, or it could be access to also executing it. And the second one would be incentive to also engage in this behavior. Sorry, it just went out. Would be incentive to do it. Like, so the MSME becoming, now there is a clear incentive for me to register under the MSME program, because if I do, I know that as a small business I'm getting paid in 60 days. That's a very straightforward link, right? And number 2 is, now if I do not know about the MSME program, I will not be able to take benefit of this setup, right? And of the 2, access also has a big network effect. There is a peer-to-peer effect that happens when, if I'm in a marketplace of say of 10 Kirana stores, if 9 of them are adopting UPI, I will also adopt UPI, because there is now, like you said, a trust in the system. So which means that, which is why the government, and only the government can solve this. It doesn't matter if a private investor comes and says, look, I will give this to you. The government brings a certain, there's a reason why you put the cash in your pocket, because at the end of the day, you actually believe that even if my technology fails, I've got cash in my hand, which is backed by the government, by the way. Not by a GPay, not by a Paytm, not by a this thing. It is backed by something as fundamental as the government that rules you, right? So it is a sum total of trust, access to information, as well as an incentive. So you can't, it's a trifecta, right? Like, you cannot remove either of these 3 things from the system. It has to be trust leading to access, leading to incentive.
Does that help? Good. Thank you, guys. All right. So since we talked about tech adoption, which was the second one, and through the questions, shall we move to innovation? All right. Okay. So, how many unicorns are there in India as on today? Any guesses? Any number? 50? Okay. 15? Oh, no, come on. No? 70? 78? Okay.
Somewhere near to 100.
Near to 100? Yeah, 110. 110 unicorns. So we talked about, different sort of myriad industries that India or Indian economy actually works on. I mean, if you look at, we are still predominantly an agriculture-based economy. I mean, 43% of our employment is actually coming from agriculture. And then you have, about 15% or something like from manufacturing, construction, 11% is services, and so on and so forth, right? But what we had seen, at least some of us who have spent almost 25 plus years of experience in tech industry, when we started our career, we had a very service-oriented mindset. Innovation was not there at all. We were like more into outsourcing, offshoring, that sort of a business, right? Now, when you see 110 unicorns or whatever, 100 plus unicorns in India today, that definitely means that there is innovation coming up, right? Now, but then I want to understand from the panelists, how do they see innovation? Because innovation has two, if we can look at innovation from two different perspectives. One is, the startups, right? Like the companies who are coming and becoming unicorns, or they're trying to sort of, and then their backbone is all digital tech-driven startups, right? Whether they are in agriculture industry or manufacturing and so on and so forth. And the second one are the companies who are already into their digital transformation journey. Even there also, the number of patents that you see these days are coming up quite a bit. So how do our panelists see innovation, and that would actually foster moving towards 7 trillion economy? I would like to start from Kanishk.
Yeah, so innovation is definitely a key area, as in, that will define new industries. As in, we heard about BFSI, we never heard about fintech. So we now see fintech, we see agri-tech. So there is a tech that is coming in all of the industries, and the adoption is happening. Innovation is the key. I definitely see the major challenge for the legacy companies that are moving towards data literacy. That means literacy is very important for them to understand the data. The problem is that the adoption of technology has been excellent. So they are adopting different applications, different software, SaaS, everywhere. They just adopt, just think, and they adopt. The problem is that they have created different silos within their business. So it's very important for these companies to establish this language from a data perspective. So when Upkarji was talking about the business owners, right? So the business as well as the people that are executing that on the ground, they need to have the same language. I've seen that they address, one is saying X, the other person is using the same data and they are calling it a Y. So that unified data is very, very important to drive innovation, because if you are addressing it with different names within your own ecosystem and you have created different silos by adopting different applications, so it's not gearing you towards innovation. So for innovation, I think there are laggards and there are leaders. So to be a leader, you need to have a unique proposition for the customer. And what is that? That is the perceived value that you're able to create for your consumer. Whomsoever is your end user, you should be able to give them that perceived value through the innovation. Now the focus is always on the end consumer. I think when you talk about platforms, what Amazon is a platform, right? So there are so many platforms. What platforms have done is that they have created a perceived value from their innovation for all the people that play in that platform. That means their partners, the vendors, the customer, everyone is getting benefited out of that platform. So from an innovation standpoint, it's important for Indian businesses, when they design, build, innovate, they design, build and innovate to ensure that they're able to give a good perceived value to all of the people that are part of their value chain.
Just to add to this, I'll give you the real example of this innovation. In our organization, current one, Gujarat Fluorochemicals, while we are going through this digital transformation phase, while doing the preparation of this phase, we had, conducted many of the workshops for all our business people, and half of them were on ideation, just to ideate into their current regular operations, right? And not only we have one function of the digital transformation part, where we are adopting multiple tracks of technologies, but the other section is value realization office. We call that as VRO. We have established that program for all level of stakeholders to participate and make what is the value realization they are going to get with these technologies. And innovation for that per se has to be a culture in a legacy organization or enterprise. Innovation is not only coming up with a new product line or a new business lines. That may be if KRA of a corporate strategy function. But innovation, if culture has been built into an organization, then every employee will be asked to innovate something or the others. I can give an example with my function as I am a digital head for this organization. I gave a target to all the business stakeholders to come up with a 2 RPA cases, use cases from their function. Right? For writing a robotic process automation using a technology, I asked them 2 use cases. This was attached to their KRAs. It may not be eligible for a RPA use, but they have to think, they have to rethink that what could be the possible use case. That brings or that makes an innovation as a culture at all level. And from there itself, you may not know, some employee may come up with some innovative ideas for the product creation or for the reduction of consumption of energy. So any innovative idea can up. So innovation has to be a culture. Thank you.
I mean, just to add, you guys must have, studied about blue ocean and red ocean strategies while working in, studying in your MBA only. So, I mean, I won't go into deep, you guys have already done. So, swimming through the blue ocean, you understand what exactly are the problems that you do go for, but what can be the benefits. Innovation is just part of that. You are striving in the blue ocean strategy or blue ocean part where there are not a lot of competitors. You have the opportunity to stand on a monopoly point of view. I'll give you a real-time case study for that. So I was consulting one of the companies who is into environmental space. So what they work with hospitals like Apollo and all those things. So a lot of hospitals, they do have, all the AC ducts and all, which used to put them a lot of, electricity charges and all. So what they did is they replaced the whole architecture with a system where they have the cold water and that's running through the duct, and based on that they keep the temperature maintained. So earlier they used to do that, but what they did is they did a complete hackathon within the organization. So they asked people to come up with the ideas, and whosoever did, they used to get a $50,000 as a grant or winning prize or something. So a new idea that came into picture, that they start collecting data, like what's the temperature out there right now through different IoT devices, what the temperature they maintain, what could have been the best temperature through which you have the optimized manner in terms of saving energy and saving bills, and then running on an optimal temperature of, let's say, 24 degree, 25 degree. And they had converted into a complete analytical situation. They can control the formulas, put in new formulas through their platform, and that get driven to the IoT devices, and the IoT devices will start operating in the same level. So they did change the whole business model in that manner, that they now started providing the IoT devices for free, and they start charging about 20% of the money that they saved for all the hospitals. And their profit percentage, they were EBITDA negative, but apparently their EBITDA negative almost come to the neutral in terms of being on the driven of cash rich. So that's how an innovation can help you strive from an idea to an implementation on a level where you are just drawing money or using money and now earning money to that concept. So hence you should always be open to the idea, and blue ocean strategy or blue ocean portion can be a difficult thing to be in right now because you don't have anyone to look forward to. But once you have gone through it, you can stand out as a monopoly. That is what we are seeing a lot of business doing.
Yeah, that reminds me that I think you guys will be the business leaders of tomorrow, and maybe one of you will build a unicorn of future as well, right? But innovation is all about that it has to be technically feasible. That's important. Financially viable for innovation to happen, right? And the problem that you're trying to solve, that is needed by the people. That's important. If you innovate, there are tons of people that innovate, but if these 3 matrices are not followed, you won't be successful.
Yeah, you have to validate your use case. That's the bottom line, right? And if you don't do it, I mean, Mukul talked about some use cases around why Nokia went down the drain, or BlackBerry and other cases we have seen. If you do not continuously innovate, that culture that Upkar was talking about, if you do not do that, the companies is definitely not going to survive. I mean, in the service industry too, we call service industry, when we run service industry and service business, we say that there has to be 2 arms. One arm will take care of your services where the cash flow will start coming in, but the other arm has to be an innovative arm. It has to go hand in hand. if you stop this one, the innovation, then you're dead. If you stop services, you don't have cash, right?
And that stands for your personal level as well. That innovation for you will come from learning. So just remember that you have to keep learning each day. Make it a point to learn at least something new every day. So that is innovation for each of you.
Outside college as well.
Yeah.
That's an important.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think I've been told to sort of wrap it up in next 3 to 4 minutes. I would like to sort of, if all of you agree, let's talk to them. If you have any more questions, please. We have about 3-4 minutes more. Over there.
Hello, sir. First of all, very insightful session. So you were talking about startup and then technology-driven unicorns. So I have spent 5 years in a company and saw that company to become a unicorn journey. So this was a very learning phase for me. So I often came across a question from the large enterprise customers. How do you ensure that my data is safe with you while integrating the analytics tools or by implementing the technology? So as a CTO or as a like IT head, what's your thought on this? Like how data is safe, or what's the take on cyber security and cyber threats?
While you're working on any application, you know what your target market is. Let's say if I'm working in Europe, every country has its own regulations. Like GDPR comes into your place, then you're working in US, you have different regulations. So we have a term called PI, that is personal information. So you have to make sure that any sort of information that is being stored, you encrypt them with the right encryption algorithms. You keep your secret safe across your servers and across your application. So that being the basics that do come into picture. Then you have, I'll go on a few of the jargons because you asked the question and you have been in industry, so you do understand that. Then you have different reports or audits like VAPTs and all those sort of audits that do come into picture. So you see where exactly the openings or loopholes that can be there in your application, and you want to plug them in so that you have the security. Like I'll give you a very basic example. Like for one of the companies I was consulting, they had their application open in terms of for the input boxes, they didn't have any sort of checks like how many characters or how much data can come into length. So apparently, and they didn't have any sort of rate limiters or controllers like how many requests can be made to the application. So someone started a DOS, it's a DOS attack on the platforms, like giving all the requests again using bots and all, sending in text with characters up to 10,000, 50,000, 1 lakh, and the application went down. And we saw that the traffic coming from different areas, then DOS converted to DDoS, and we have to go through all those checks and all. So first of all, you need to make sure that you know where exactly your target geography is so that you follow their regulations. Second, you make sure that you have your audits in place like VAPTs and all those things. And third, you do make your basic checks in section that what sort of data can come into your system. You want to secure against SQL injections and all those things that are coming into picture. So there is a checklist you can follow, but you need to be very much open to the new list, keep on studying, have your team taking care of it, because it's a never ending story. There would be new attacks that would be coming, new security patches that need to be taken care of.
Just to add to on this, that your question was that when you go with a startup goes to the enterprise asking, so they have this question, right? So it's a very prudent question. The reason being, any enterprise would have a secure network. They must have built that from all perspective. And if you remember that cyber threats are very critical nowadays, right? Altogether, all organizations have to be on their toes to keep their environment safe and sound. So any application on any solution you suggest them to integrate with their environment, right? They need to look after all these things which he has mentioned, VAPT, application vulnerabilities, and all those things has to be sorted out. And they need to see if the application platform you are using is safe or not. If it is a .NET, all those things have been made into a place in the code level or not. If it is a WordPress, the WordPress as a technology itself is a vulnerable. So all those perfectly, or if the solution you are suggesting is integrated with a single sign-on, right? That basically LDAP kind of authentication is possible, multi-factor authentication is possible or not. So any enterprise client will obviously validate the solutions a startup is suggesting or offering to them from all this angle, only because these supply chain attacks has happened in the industries where SCL kind of companies has got into trapped, right? So this is very important, I feel. And thank you for bringing the cybersecurity lens into it, because I think no topic should complete ever before the cybersecurity.
I mean, even the penalties up to 10% of your revenue, or even up to 20 million.
Oh yeah, I mean,
can be, put in your Europe area and all under GDPR Act. If you have the breachment of data and you don't, regulate with the authorities out there, so you need to be very careful when it comes.
There are examples where ransomware attacks happen and customers are asked to pay in Bitcoin.
Our test server got attacked with ransomware. But it was a test server, we could have let it go.
All right, guys, so we are at the top of the hour. Thank you very much for having us here. Thank you, folks. It was a great discussion. Over to you guys. Thank you.
On behalf of everyone present here, I express my sincere gratitude to the panel today. We truly appreciate their presence and the wisdom that they have shared with us despite their demanding schedules. We leave this discussion inspired and armed with fresh perspective and ideas that will undoubtedly shape our future understanding of the industry. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our moderator, Mr. Ashish Sharan, for his enthusiastic presence here today. Sir gave us a very important takeaway, that is, data is the gold mine and how to gather insights from it. I would like to invite Ms. Kiran Maria to kindly present the memento to Mr. Sharan. Sir, now we would request you to give the mementos to our esteemed panel members. I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Upkar Singh for honoring us with his presence today. Sir talked about digital strategy starts with the mission and vision of the company, quoting the example of Asian Paints and how it became a household name, adopting to the technology early. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Mr. Thomas Finn for enriching us on this occasion today. Sir emphasized on first-hand insights about the data improves customer experience. Thank you, sir. We are deeply grateful for Mr. Mukul Juneja for honoring us with his presence today. Sir highlighted the importance of data regulation and how data awareness is important as data inclusivity. A heartfelt thank you to Mr. Kanishk Agarwal for being here today and gracing us with his presence today. Sir highlighted the importance of technological inclusion in pan industry, which we budding managers will take forward. Thank you, sir.
Now, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our title sponsor, NHPC, a Navratna company, for making this event a success. Let's take a moment to celebrate the 50 glorious years of NHPC.
हिमालय की शांत घाटियों से लेकर भारत के जीवंत शहरों तक एक अदृश्य धारा बहती है। ये है प्रगति की ऊर्जा, जिसे संजोकर आगे बढ़ाने में जुटी है एनएचपीसी। देश के स्वच्छ भविष्य को आकार देने में कंपनी के निपुण हाथों बुद्धिमत्ता और कौशल का योगदान रहा है। ये गाथा है एनएचपीसी लिमिटेड की। भारत की सबसे बड़ी जल विद्युत कंपनी, जो अपने 50 वर्षों के समर्पण और निष्ठा के साथ राष्ट्र के सतत निर्माण की राह पर निरंतर बढ़ रही है। ये विलक्षण कथा 1975 में शुरू हुई, जब एनएचपीसी का जन्म एक स्पष्ट और गहन उद्देश्य के साथ हुआ: जल की अपार शक्ति का देश के लिए दोहन करना और इसे ऊर्जा के एक स्थायी स्रोत में बदलना। तब इस कंपनी को नेशनल हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक पावर कॉरपोरेशन के नाम से जाना जाता था। अपने शुरुआती वर्षों में एनएचपीसी ने हिमाचल प्रदेश में बैरासियूल, मणिपुर में लोकतक और जम्मू और कश्मीर में सलाल जैसी परियोजनाओं को अपने कुशल हाथों में लिया और इस तरह जल के प्रवाह से विद्युत बनने की विरासत की शुरुआत हुई। ये सिर्फ परियोजनाएं नहीं थीं, ये वो आधारशिला थी जिस पर भारत का ऊर्जा भविष्य निर्मित होने वाला था। एनएचपीसी के इंजीनियरों ने हिमालय की चुनौतीपूर्ण पहाड़ियों पर बहादुरी से काम किया और साबित कर दिखाया कि दृढ़ संकल्प और लगन के साथ किसी भी चुनौती पर विजय प्राप्त करना असंभव नहीं है। 1982 तक एनएचपीसी ने केवल बिजली उत्पादन ही नहीं बल्कि लाभ कमाना भी शुरू कर दिया था। आज एनएचपीसी भारत की सबसे बड़ी जल विद्युत कंपनी के रूप में स्थापित है और 100% ग्रीन पावर उत्पादन करने का उसका प्रण और भी मजबूत हो गया है।
वर्तमान में एनएचपीसी के पास 28 पावर स्टेशन है और 7,200 मेगावाट से अधिक की संस्थापित क्षमता है।
हर मेगावाट ऊर्जा भारत के उज्जवल और हरित भविष्य की दिशा में एक कदम है। 2009 में बॉम्बे स्टॉक एक्सचेंज और नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में सूचीबद्ध होने के साथ ही एनएचपीसी ने एक ऐतिहासिक कदम उठाया। 6,000 करोड़ रुपए के आईपीओ ने कंपनी की वित्तीय स्थिरता को मजबूत किया। जैसे जैसे समय बीता, मेहनत और लगन से अगस्त 2024 में एनएचपीसी को एक प्रतिष्ठित नवरत्न कंपनी बनने का सम्मान प्राप्त हुआ और अब अपने सतत प्रयासों से ये कंपनी महारत्न बनने की ओर अग्रसर है। आज एनएचपीसी दिबांग और सुबनसिरी जैसी विशाल परियोजनाओं के साथ जल विद्युत ऊर्जा में नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित कर रही है। 2000 मेगावाट की सुबनसिरी लोअर परियोजना और 2880 मेगावाट की दिबांग परियोजना न केवल इंजीनियरिंग के अद्वितीय उदाहरण हैं, बल्कि देश की ऊर्जा आत्मनिर्भरता के पथ पर मील के पत्थर हैं। एनएचपीसी देश की लगभग 66% निर्माणाधीन जल विद्युत परियोजनाओं का निर्माण कर रही है, जो दर्शाता है कि कंपनी राष्ट्र निर्माण में एक अग्रणी भूमिका निभा रही है। जल विद्युत
Now I would love to extend a heartfelt thank you to our investor and education partner, UTI Mutual Funds, co-sponsor RPG Group, sports shoe partner Ebros, print media partner Business Standard, entertainment sponsor White Heaven, event sponsor AdSat, radio partner Red FM 93.5, valued sponsors Phoenix Global, Havish M Consulting and Key Properties, athleisure partner Decathlon, bath and kitchen partner Radon, animal welfare partner PETA India, sustainable hydration partner Piau, and summit sponsor Bank of Baroda. As we draw this enlightening discussion to a close, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all of you present here today, who have been part of this engaging conversation and have made this session a resounding success. Thank you all. Now I request the entire team to please gather on the stage for a picture with the panel members. No, you can leave.